Hey guys, in this session, let us learn how to kill multiple processes or the sessions which are connected to the database with respect to a particular criteria. Okay, so there are multiple situations where a DBA need to kill the sessions if they are not necessary in a production database, right? So if the sessions pile up in the database, then we may get max process exceeded error. So if the process limit is increased and if the number of processes are not sufficient to connect to the database, then we will get VORA 20 error. So in those cases, we have multiple ways to kill the sessions, right? So based on the host name or based on the program or module, or so if we just connect to the database and if we describe VDLS session, we have multiple columns over here, right? Every column is very important. So if we need to kill sessions related to a particular username, then we use username column. Or if we need to kill sessions related to a machine, then we use machine, and terminal, program, then SQL ID and program, module, action. Lot of things are there. Also we can kill based on the events, wait events, right? So in some situations, even though DBA kill the sessions manually, still they may be recurring. Okay, so they recur for every week or every day or every hour or every minute, right? So if we know the problem that this particular sessions are related to this particular application, and if it connect to the database again, then we need to kill those sessions using a shell script, right? So in production database, I would not recommend to use this script unless until you are you have a knowledge on the problem, right? So if the issue is recurrent, then we need to investigate that issue, and further we need to check from which application those sessions are getting spawned, and then you need to discuss with the application team to confirm that whether they can whether we can kill these sessions or not, and whether they are doing any testing or whether it is expected, right? So we cannot allow the application testing sessions in a production database to pile up, right? So we have limited resources. Right? So we have this parameter called sessions and processes. So these are limited in our database. So if application spawn multiple connections and flood the database for unnecessary reasons. So if it is a legit process, or if the process is business critical, then DBA need to add extra process, right? But if those processes are just testing sessions in a production database, then it is harming the database. If the processes are exceeding the limit, then obviously further connections cannot be made to the database, right? So this may impact the critical sessions as well. So that's the reason we need to understand this problem, okay, and then kill those sessions with the help of shell script. So consider that for every 1 hour I am getting these sessions from application, and application team confirmed that they are doing some testing and they are good to kill those sessions. Since those sessions are not getting released from the application end, even though they stop the connection, we don't have any other option rather than killing those sessions. So once they approve to kill those sessions, if those connections are coming for every 1 hour, then it is very time consuming for a DBA to manually log into the database every 1 hour and kill those sessions, right? So in this case, we can directly go ahead and write a shell script to kill those sessions. Okay, so here the problem is that, so there are multiple scenarios, right? So there are scenarios related to blocking sessions. There are scenarios related to NQs. NQ means it is kind of a lock, table lock, right? So if we execute insert statement, DML statements like insert, update, delete, and if another session is doing the same thing on the same table, so there are different types of lock. So shared row lock, shared exclusive. So there are different types of lock where a particular row will be locked totally in a table. So if it is not shared lock, then obviously there may be locking sessions. Okay, but the current scope of this particular session is not to discuss on types of lock. Okay, so we are going to write a shell script to deal with this. That's it. Okay, so there are inactive sessions as well. So this is also one of the scenarios where multiple application sessions will be inactive and not doing anything, and simply they will be connected to the database with no chance of getting released. So we as a DBA, we need to kill those sessions once application team confirm. Also, if a particular username is executing any query without the knowledge of the application team itself, sometimes some user may execute some testing queries which may run in parallel. Okay, so that user may not be aware of the impact of executing a statement in parallel in a production database, right? So parallel helps the query to run faster, but if the number of records that is going to be fetched are very less, then there is no point of using parallel, right? So if a table size is only 1 GB, okay, in a 1 TB database, so for that 1 GB table, there is no point in using parallel. Okay, 1 GB is just 1% of the total size of the database. So generally we don't use parallel for 1 GB table or less than 1 GB table. And if an user is unknowingly using parallel, because application users may not know about the behavior of the database in the backend, right? So if they have knowledge, then they don't recommend using parallel. But if any new user or new application user is coming, and if he is not aware of these details, then he may execute in parallel, and that may cause resource consumption in the database, and it will slow down other queries, right? So in those cases, we need to make sure that we kill the sessions with the help of username. So likewise, there are a lot of scenarios. Okay, so we are just going to write a general script which we can use it for every scenarios. Okay, so here we start the script. Okay, then what we have to do, first we need to check whether the database is running or not, right? So if the database is not running, then there is no point in killing those sessions. We will get a lot of errors when we connect to the database, right? So that's the reason we need to check if the database is up or not. So if it is up, then what? So if it is down, then what? So here we are going to use if condition. So if it is up, then we will create a script to collect all the sessions. Okay, either it is inactive session or either it is parallel session. So we need to collect the details of all the sessions, SID and serial number, right? So these two details are very important to kill those sessions. So we don't have any other identifiers to kill, right? So when we use alter system kill session, these two details are very important. So that's the reason we need to collect those session ID and serial number first, right? So first, before that, we need to connect to the database. So if the database is up, then we connect to the database and then collect all the sessions which are related to SID and serial number. So if it is down, then what? If the database is down, then we print that DB is down. That's it. DB is down. So make sure that you are starting the database or whatsoever. So you can write any text using echo. Okay. So once we collect the SID and serial number, then what? So let me just write it over here. So if we collect the SID and serial number, then we need to create a script, kill script. So this script is going to kill those sessions with the help of shell script. That's it. Okay. So once we kill those sessions, then we again validate it and then stop the script. So we validate and make sure that those sessions are killed and then stop the script. So this is a basic picture of writing a shell script for killing the sessions related to a particular module or application or action or wait events or blocking sessions, anything. Okay. So now we will just create a shell script called session check. So first we trap any files which are not needed, right? So then we create a function env. So if it is multiple database, then you can use the script which was used in the previous sessions for multiple databases. And if it is single database, then we export it, right? So let me just print. So the same function over here. So now we set the environment variables. Okay. So the next thing is we need to check if the database is up and running. So always make sure that you just give a number for the function, okay, so that it will be easy to identify. So how we will check the status of the DB? So we already know that we use ps-ef grep pmon to check the status of the database. So also we had written a script to check the status of the database previously, right? So we can use the same script. Okay. So this script does not it contains certain commands or SQL queries to be executed. Okay, so we don't need this. So let me just, so what we need is we need to check the pmon status, right? So we can grep pmon and use awk to print the last column. Okay. Also we don't need another grep, so we'll print only this one. Okay, so here, as we already know that since we are using this grep to fetch the pmon, so for this grep also there will be another process which will be spawned, so we don't need this process, right? So that's why I'm negating that it should not fetch the grep process. We only need the pmon process, right? So now I have fetched this particular process. Okay, so if I'll just use wc-l, so if I get output as 1, then database is up and running, or the instance is up and running. Okay, so that does not mean that my database is in no mount or open, so we don't know about that, but the thing is the database should be up. That's it. So to get a general idea, so we use this pmon to determine whether the database is up or not. Okay, so here I'll just go again inside the script. I'll use the script. So I will use if condition, right? Then what? So if this condition is met, then database is up and running, right? Else database is down. So something like this I can write. Okay. So at last I will close this if condition. So now we check the status of the database, right? So we need to get the session details. For that we need to use another function. So here we call this script environment variable script. So this is the script. So now we will connect to the database. So here I need to write a SQL script to collect all the information related to a particular session, right? So here whatever condition that that is needed, we can get it. So select username, module, action, program, machine, event, something like this. Okay, from $session where blocking session is not null. So just consider that we are going to write a shell script to kill the blocking sessions which is known. Okay, and username is equal to, here we are going to give some username, so I will just give sys user. Okay, but in real time you need to investigate the problem. Okay, so from which user it is coming and whether those sessions can be killed or not. So we need to confirm it with the application team. But here, just for demonstration purpose, I am just using sys user. Okay, so we can write it in a SQL script and then execute it from the shell script, or we can directly use it, use the select command inside this, right, like this. So there are two ways. So here I am going to execute the SQL script. Okay, so I will just collect all the information related to the session. So now let me just execute the same SQL query inside the database. So here I don't have any output, right? So in this case, so if I execute the same script from command line, I am getting the same output, right? Also, my session is getting stuck over here. So what I will do is, I will use exit over here. Okay, so let me just kill this session first. Let me just execute it. So yeah, let me execute it here. Yeah. Now I just need to get the exit status of this particular command. So it is 0. So which means that my execution has been successful, right? But even though my execution is successful, I don't have any rows printed, right? So in this case, what we can do? So we can just print this output to a text file. Okay. So if I just cat this out.txt, it says that no row selected. So we can also try to grep with the no row selected like this. So if this particular output has exit status 0, then no row selected. Else we have to do, we have to collect the kill session script from the database. Okay, so now I will just copy it and paste it over here. So if question mark $? Is equal to 0, then no blocking sessions found. Else so in this case we need to collect the script, right? So for that we need to write another SQL kill script. So select alter system kill session and followed by so we need to give the SID, right? And serial number. And then once we get the SID and serial number, we need to close the script from VWS session where blocking session is not null and username is equal to sys. Okay, So now let me just check in the database whether this script is working or not. So it says that there is some syntax error. So let me just, okay, it says that no row selected. So now let me just change blocking session to inactive so that I will get some output. Okay, so even I don't get any output for inactive, so let me just print for active. Yeah, so now we got this alter system kill session script, but here we are not getting the correct format, so we need to so yeah, so we got alter system kill session command. Okay, so this is what we are going to use inside this file. So here we need to again connect to SQL Plus and execute this kill script. Okay, so there are n number of ways to do this. Okay, so this is not the only way that can be done to collect the script or kill the session. Okay, so what we can do is we can print this we can directly print the output inside the file instead of using the exit status. Okay, so that we'll see in different sessions. Okay, but this is one of the way that is used to collect the kill script for sessions. That's it. Okay, so now let me just execute the script once and check if I'm able to get the session details or not. So it says that command not found. So let me just, yeah, so here I need to use echo outside of the quotes. Yeah, so it says that no blocking sessions found. Okay, since our database is idle, we don't have any blocking sessions, so this output is not needed. Okay, so I'll just suppress this output. So what I will do is I will just comment this out and just test it for active session. Okay. And let me just create a script called active.sql. So previously we had written a script for collecting the blocking sessions, right? Get this one. So I need to use the same script, and instead of blocking session is not null, I will be using where status is equal to active. So I will connect to the database in this session. Okay, so this should be inactive. Why? Because I'm not doing anything. Let me just move this to inactive. So now let me just execute the script. Okay, so I'm able to get the output. So now let me go to the shell script. So here, instead of blocking session, I will just use inactive.sql. So now let me execute this script. So inactive sessions found, and let me also enable debugger. So here exit status for our script is 1, but it is not equal to 0. So that is the reason I am not able to get the output. So here exit status should be 1. Okay. Yeah, inactive sessions found. Okay. So now let me just execute this script in the command line and then check $? So here it is 0, but still inside the script exit status is showing as 1. Okay. So why? Because we have used this particular line, right? So that is the reason we are getting alternative value. So I have given no row selected. So what I can do is, if exit status is 1, so what I am doing is correct. Why? Because if the text file output.txt file does not contain no rows selected, then my exit status becomes 1. If my exit status become 1, then I need to check the inactive sessions. So I'm just negating the situation, that's it. Okay, so I will use the same script here also. Okay, and I will delete this particular line. And what I will do is else echo no row selected. Okay, so now if I just execute this script, I'm able to find inactive sessions. Okay, so at the same time I can also print the sessions. So I will just cat this output.txt file and comment this out. Yeah. So here I need to format the columns so that I get proper output. So now I'm getting a clear output saying that inactive sessions are found. Okay. Let me go to the script. So if I'm going very fast, then what you can do is I'll just upload the script, so you will just refer to the script and understand how it works. Okay, since there is no hard or fast rule that the script should be written in this particular way, you can also think on your own way and write it in a different perspective. Okay, so I have collected the kill script output. So let me just print output one.txt. Okay, so here I have the kill script commands. So I don't want this particular output. So what I will do is I'll just set echo off, feedback off. Now let me again execute the script. Let me print the output. So let me just remove this file first. Okay, so I have commented this line, so that's why I'm not able to find the output. So now again let me execute the script. Okay, so I don't want the heading as well, so let me just remove the heading. Yeah, so as we can see that we have collected the kill script in output1.txt, right? So here what we can do is you can just convert this output1.txt to kill dot SQL. Okay, so that it makes more sense on the name of the script. Okay, so now we have collected the SID and serial number with the help of this function. So the next action that we are going to do is kill the sessions. That's it. So how can we kill the sessions? We can directly execute this, that's it. Okay. So we can also reduce the number of connections to the database if you have understood the basic. Okay, so since I have connected 2 times to the database, so first time I have connected to the database here, and second time I am connecting to the database here, and I am also connecting to the database for the third time. Right, so multiple connections are involved, and these connections may involve processes as well, which needs to be cleaned up by the OS, which is operating system. So we need to think on reducing the number of connections to the database. Okay, how can I reduce the number of connections to 1? So in one connection I can execute everything, something like that. But since this is a basic script, I will not be doing those things and all in this session. Okay, so first of all, you just try to understand how we can approach the problem. Okay, so then we can further go for optimization on the script. Okay, so now this is the kill session script. Okay, so what I will do is I will insert this kill session script here. Why? Because if my database is down, then I will not be able to execute this script. So that is the reason I am inserting the script here. So if the database is up only, then I can execute this script. Right? Also make sure that if you are going to implement this script in production, then you need to be cautious and you need to validate everything before knowing what we are doing. Okay. Also we need to use another nested if statement. Okay, -s kill dot SQL. We need to make sure that this file is existing, right? So -s will check if the if this particular file is existing or not. Okay, so if this file exists, then what? Then kill the session, that's it. Else break. Or you don't need else part. Okay, so you can just close this if condition. Okay, so now we have validated if the script existing or not, right? So simply we cannot execute the kill statement, if we don't have the kill statement itself, right? If this file itself is not present in the OS level, then I will not be able to kill anything. So this script will keep on running for every 1 hour, and if this kill.sql file is not there, then it may execute something else, because there are n number of variations that can happen, right? Sometimes if the processes are exceeded, then we may not be able to connect to the database, or if there are some other issues like memory issues, we may not be able to connect to the database. We cannot implement every scenarios in a single script, so it may take a long time to generate those kind of scripts. So we need to research a lot on what kind of situations may happen. But for handy and faster implementation of scripts, we can just write a basic shell script. That's it. That is sufficient to get an idea of the situation, right? So now, so once this script exit, I'll just remove the out.txt file, okay, inside the trap. So I don't want the output, so I just need a new output file to be generated. So this will prevent unnecessary files to be residing on our directory. Okay. Also, if the shell script is generating lot of outputs, then that may cause space issues, right? So if the file is growing without the knowledge of DBA, then that may exhaust the mount point space. So now we can execute db status script here. Okay, so we need to generate kill session script. We already generated, so we need to get the session details. So we can remove the last line. Okay, we don't need this. So here again I am using nested function. Okay, so inside this function I am just calling the other two functions inside this function. Okay, so even though I write it in order, still these functions will not be executed. Okay, unless until I call this function, I will not be able to execute these functions. So that is why we should not bother about the order of functions or the sequence of functions. So here I have written this function after this, right? But still, if I am not calling this function like this, these functions will not be executed. Okay, it is just a simple function which is idle. That's it. It has no task to do unless until I call it. It is like switching on the power. So unless until I switch on my computer, it is just a normal physical device. That's it. So if I power on the computer, then only I will be able to access and do some tasks inside the computer, right? So likewise, unless until I call this script, this function is just a function. That's it, without any task. So now let me just execute the script. So the moment when I execute the script, this particular session should be killed. So let me just enable debugger. Yeah, so since I have not called this db status function, my script is not executed. Okay, so this db status.1 is just an idle function since I have not called this. So I have to call this at the end. So it says that user session ID does not exist. Session is not a user session. So I think there is a syntax error or something. Let me just okay. So now let me just try to execute something in this session. Okay, so it is executing. Let me check my current SID. So current SID is 269. So let me just check if this particular session ID is collected here or not. So 263 is collected. Okay, so I think this particular session is active, so that's the reason I'm not able to get this session. So this current session is active. Okay, so what I will do is let me again connect to the database, check the current SID. So current SID is 19, and let me check the status of this SID. So it is active. So instead of inactive, what I will do is I will again change it to active. That's it. So here our intention is to get the session and kill the script. Kill the SQL using the script. That's it. Okay, whether either it may be active or inactive or blocking session or wait events or anything. So you can use this script for anything. So just don't get confused that I'm changing the script from active to inactive. Okay. So I have changed it to active. So let me just move it to active. So I'm just showing this just for demonstration purpose. That's it. Okay. So I'm just going to kill the session which is active now. Now let me execute the script. Database is up. Inactive sessions found. Okay, unable to open inactive.file. Okay, so I need to modify the script as well. Okay, so again there is probably an error So what I will do is I'll just remove the skill.sql script as well. Okay. Why? Because every time when I execute the script, the session IDs are constant. Okay. So again I need to I have changed this to active. So let me just when I execute this particular command, I am able to get the correct SID, but when it is executed from the shell script, I am getting some error. So probably the error is happening from kill.sql. So I need to make sure that this kill.sql collect the proper script or not. Okay. So let me just enable debugger. So always when you are not sure about how the script is executing, just enable debugger so that we will get an idea on the problem. Okay. So still this particular kill.sql is getting the same output again and again. So that's the reason we are not able to kill the session. So let me just check what is there inside this. So status is active and username is sys. Let me just execute this particular line in the command line. Okay. But when I execute from the SQL plus, I am getting this output. Let me just remove this. Okay, so now I am getting some other output. So what I will do is, I will open another session. So this is 253. So now let me just So now it is again changing. Okay, let me just execute some command or query and check. So the SID and serial number, it keep on changing. Okay, so that's the reason I'm not able to fetch the information. So now let me just get the SQL ID as well and just show you. Yeah, so this is the session that needs to be killed. Okay, so I just put the SQL ID. Yeah, so now we are able to get the session details. So now let me execute the script. Let me just again execute another query. So kill.sql, again it is not having any output since this SQL query has exited. So let me just again execute the same query once. Okay, and execute the script immediately. Since the SQL has stopped executing, I am not able to kill the session. Okay, let me just execute the query again. Yeah, so now we can see that this particular session has been killed, right? So this is how we can use the script for any situation. So now previously I had used status of the session, either active or inactive. Since we don't have multiple sessions in our database, we are not able to simulate that situation. But when I use a SQL ID, we are able to correctly fetch the SQL ID and kill that particular session. Okay,